It's college basketball season, and as such, every single Tuesday here on The Drive, we have the pleasure of catching up with the head coach of the Siena Saints men's basketball program. That is Coach Carm Maciarello. Coach Carm, good afternoon to you, sir. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Just got back from our first two-game road trip that obviously gave us some bumps and bruises. But, the sun rose this morning, and we're back here on campus and getting ready for a great week of work.
It's a great spot to be, win, lose, or draw, being back on campus. So I understand that completely. But let's talk about that road trip, the games against Richmond on Saturday and then American on Monday evening. You and I were briefly catching up, lessons to be learned from these games. But from game one to game two, what were your impressions? And then did you see progression from game one to game two for your group?
Yeah, I saw some. Obviously, there's no moral victories. I said it after Holy Cross when we won. I said, obviously, it's easier to teach lessons after you win. And then that Holy Cross team just goes to Georgetown and beats Georgetown. So, but we go to Richmond and we knew they're a good team and you got to guard their Princeton offense. And, they're just so well coached. Chris Mooney does a great job. And guys, I thought we were in it for about the first 8 minutes, and it was a 5-point game, but then we just relaxed, right? We think we don't have to compete all the time, every possession, and within every possession. So that's the goal. And then, stepping into the American game, obviously Dwayne Simpkins, I've known Dwayne a long time, was a really good college player, and then this is his first home game. They're 0-2. He's got a chance to get his first win at home against Siena.
Right.
So, hey, I got my first home win at home against American. and then it comes down to, hey, now we played probably 18 solid minutes. Now, great, 18 solid minutes. Well, that's not even half the game. It's a 2 or 4 point game, and we have some untimely shots and untimely turnover. Next thing you know, we're down 8. And those are the things that we have to grow from. So there's going to be a lot more competition in practice. There's going to be a lot more just, accountability to our numbers. We have a grading system for straight line drives, for offensive rebounding percentage, for ball screen coverage, for help off the ball and positioning. So now we haven't reached our goals in these games. Mm-hmm. So there's got to be some accountability. Obviously we show the guys the film, but with a young group, they're not doing us any favors by thinking they're saving themselves because they need to play more minutes. They play the minutes they get. They can't do the job. They come out. Somebody else comes in, and they have to play till exhaustion. I remember after Holy Cross, I thought we were exhausted.
Right.
These last two games, and we can look at even the scientific data with their player loads, with how far they've run, how hard they're playing. You can see that. And it left a lot to be desired. So we have to really continue to coach these guys. It's not high school or prep school anymore. Obviously, we knew with a younger group, there was going to be a lot of accountability. And then it's, hey, you have to understand how we have to play every single possession. We cannot deviate from that. We have to be really regimented in how we play. We don't have a per se break you down off the bounce guy that's going to go. Obviously, Michael Ealy can, but he's been out these last couple games. So now It's, hey, how do we do this without him? Will he be back for our trip to Central Michigan in Daytona when we play them in the Sunshine Slam? So, obviously, we have to be ready for MAC play.
Yeah.
The bumps and bruises along the road, we're going to learn from them and take those lessons and make sure we retain those lessons, right? It can't just be, hey, all right, well, now it's a new game and I need to forget everything I've been taught. There has to be carryover. We taught a lot in the summer. There has to be carryover from that as well.
So with that in mind, and I appreciate your perspective on all of that and all of the different things that goes into kind of putting this group together and getting the effort that we've come to expect from the Siena programs. You guys now have a week before you hit the road and go play that Central Michigan game. Does that make this week of practice, this week of instruction, all the more important, knowing those extra elements that you want to make sure that you have with this group by the time you take the court next?
Oh, it's paramount.
Yeah.
This is gonna be war week. I mean, we're these guys are gonna understand, and we're ramping it up more in the weight room. And I thought we did a great job in the summer, in the preseason, really getting after these guys in the weight room and on the court conditioning and outside conditioning and doing Navy SEAL training and working with our mental performance coach and working with shore athlete with personality tests. Now, a lot of these guys are more introverts. So,
Okay.
hey, how do we bring them out? Working with growing Giovanni Amaju as a leader, working on growing Killian Gribben as a leader. Michael Evbagaharu has some leadership capability. I thought he showed some flashes against American. I think he had 6 points, 5 rebounds. So, hey, guys that can't do the job, their minutes, they may be down one game. Guys that are doing the job, minutes may be up. And at the end of the day, it's just making sure they understand they have to continually do the job over and over and over again.
And where do you find that balance, Coach, between the lessons coming from the coaching staff and the lessons that have to be able to come from your fellow players or your upperclassmen or things like that? Because I'm sure that the groups that you've had that have been the most successful, yes, you impart the knowledge as a staff, but at the end of the day, it has to come from your fellow players, your guys in your group. Where does that balance kind of lie?
Yeah, it's something that I think it kind of morphs on its own, and we'll do different things. Like, I'll send a guy a video on a motivational piece, or I'll send a guy, a clip of a great player. I'll send a guy a clip of a not so great play,
okay,
and ask them for their dialogue. Say, hey, if you think this is something that would help our team, you send this to our guys. You talk about this with our guys. Do you guys hang out enough off campus? Do you guys hang enough? Do you guys go out? Do you guys go out to dinner? Do you guys go out to the movies? Are you really growing your bond, or are you guys, a group that has no cohesion? I think we have a pretty cohesive group. I think these guys all like each other, but I also think they need to understand, hey, someone else has to be able to put this accountability in place besides the coaching staff. And in my staff, we have different film study groups. We have different, ways we want to build those relationships. But at the end of the day, they still got to go out and do it. It's fine to say they understand. It's fine to say they get it. But until they can do it and go out and do it continually and not have to teach the same thing over and over, now you're taking steps forward. And then, you deal with different injuries. Well, now the group has to grow and bring somebody back up to speed, right? So it's not like Michael Ealy's going to come back and, be the savior. Obviously, he's a talented player. He helps. I think the guys look up to him because he can score for us and create opportunities. I mean, we lose by 20 at American. Well, Michael's averaging 24 a game right now.
Right.
So, we beat Holy Cross by 2. It's, it's a fine line, but that's what this season right now in the early stages, hey, getting everything up to speed with how we want to play, with how we want to defend. And right now, we're not defending how we need to defend.
Well, that's a huge element to that. And I mean, if you're going to face adversity at pretty much every turn, so to be able to get those lessons across is certainly important. Now, the voice you're hearing is that of Carm Maciarello, head coach of the Siena Saints men's basketball program. Tickets and more information to see the Saints team play at sienasaints.com. Follow them on Twitter at Siena MBB. Coach, before we let you go, some change to the staff that you mentioned, the coaching staff coming back this year. Coach Castagna returns, but a number of different gentlemen joining the staff for the Saints here in 23-24, many of which with ties to the program from past time here. But give us a snapshot of the staff that you've assembled together this year and kind of the different ways that these individual coaches are going to impact this group this season.
Yeah, well, Anthony Weiss came back. Obviously, he was with me my first 2 years for our first 2 regular season championships. And, he does a great job. He's just, a complete assistant. He's the complete package, recruiting, on the court, skill development, film study, connections with the players and with the alums. And then, being a basketball mind.
Yeah.
I hired Andy Farrell from Dayton. So Andy's, really in tune with our analytics package. And so I brought him on because I wanted him to create how we graded games and how we built our grading system and how we filmed, how we broke down film, how we scouted. So he's kind of the nuts and bolts there. He's also, our recruiting coordinator. He's tremendous organizationally with just keeping everybody on the same page. He's a great communicator. And then I hired Nick Pedersen as my special assistant. I moved up John Pickett to director of ops, who's doing a great job, who's a local guy. And then Nick came from Minnesota, where he was a GA, and before that he was a manager. So he's been in the Big Ten, so he's also very proficient with film. And, now, you're finding more and more kids these days, they learn more through pictures, right, than being on the floor. They learn more through the film. So being able to have guys that are all able to do that kind of makes us more efficient. And, really happy. I think I have a great staff. And, the key is, hey, just like with the players, right? Sometimes you have a team a year or 2 years, and you got to make the most of the time you have together.
Absolutely, the ever changing landscape in college basketball, college athletics. That's a huge element to all this. Coach, thank you as always for your time. Good luck moving forward. I know this is a big week coming up for practice with your group, but we'll talk to you again next Tuesday. Thanks as always.
No, I appreciate you. Thanks so much.